Beautiful morning, you the sunshine morning, babe. None the water. Okay. So, the philosophy of volatility. So, some thoughts. Okay, so I think I figured out secret life. Life is all about volatility and the love of volatility, etc. So, volatility is vitality, to quote my best friend Michael Saylor. Right. So, the strategy. All right, so I think the tricky thing in life, we tend to think that volatility is a bad thing. It should be something to be avoided. But actually, in fact, my personal thought is volatility is the secret, volatility is the way. And what that means is, like, the goal of life isn't to strip life away from volatility, but rather to harness volatility in a productive, constructive way in order to, gain more power, momentum, etc. So, for example, trying to think that, okay, so what that means is, like, for example, like nuclear power plants, right? Nuclear power plants are a good thing because when you harness volatility, like the power in the volatile thing, right? Then you could, get essentially free power, right? And like some simple thoughts that I have is kind of trying to, okay, so this is a tricky thing, right? It's like, how can you harness the upside of volatility without the downside? And I think that's the whole thought behind Stoic philosophy. And and I think that that's kind of the $1 trillion question. So I think the wisdom of like a child or a kid in Seneca is that kids are like the ultra uber geniuses because they know that and just watching Seneca grow up is kind of interesting. So essentially what Seneca does is when he gets really angry and upset, he tries to essentially just get his anger out all at once, right? Like, just get super angry and yell and stomp and throw stuff for like a minute or two, and then boom, his back to normal and like super happy, right? And I think also a smart strategy is like that with kids too, because like with adults, I think we should do the same thing. We should just be high volatility and just let our emotions out. Allow yourself to be ratchet, be like an Achilles. And then once you get it out, then just, happy-go-lucky, right? So nuclear power is good, it is, right? So volatility is good, and the reason why volatility is good is that it's also superior high yield. So just watch the earnings report with the Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, and so Michael said something that was super interesting was, think of the whole thing like a ratchet, right? So imagine if you took a ball and you put it on like a chain or a lever, you swung it at 80 RPMs, it becomes quite powerful and quite lethal. And essentially, Michael Saylor, insanely ambitious. Think the number 42, right? 21 is a magical number. And essentially the big idea is that you know, 21, right? So I actually had an interesting turbo thought. The reason why 21 is such a magical number is, you know, times 2 is 42, right? They're doing the $42 billion capital raising plan, right? And also it's the age, 21 is interesting, it's the age where, you know, essentially you become a full adult, you can drink, right? And then times that by 2, 42, the age when you're 42, that's like, you know, you're in your prime, right? I think even King Leonidas, when he actually took his Spartan 300, he might have been like 42, so I'm only 36, so I got another 10 years. And then, you know, after that, you know, like, what was that, 21, 42, then you're 64, that's like the age of retirement for a lot of people, right? Still quite wise. And then if you add another 21 on top of that, what, 82, 84, right? Probably the wisest age you're gonna be, right? And then you add another 21 to that, right? Then you're what, like 102, right? Which a lot of Japanese people live to be that age. And then another 21 on top of that, what, 126? That's in theory the theoretical biggest age that a human could become. I think the record for a woman was like 124, 122 or something like that, right? So 126 then becomes a kind of an interesting number. So think 21, right? And and also what I liked about the Michael Saylor tweet was thinking about the answer to everything in the universe is kind of fun because well, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the number 42 is the answer. And also apparently a lot of people in the generations of Michael Saylor, like Elon and stuff like that, they all, maybe I'll try to read the book. I don't know, I just can't get into the book. But the supercomputer, what, after 15 million years of trying to compute the answer to everything, it's like the answer is 42. It's like, okay, let's go, right? Yeah, so even Sanka said to me yesterday he wants 64 bitcoins. I'm all right, time for me to start stacking the bitcoins, right? And the simple money hack that I have, I mean, super simple, right? Use MicroStrategy as an engine, as your turbo cash cow, right? And when MicroStrategy trades up, you sell some good morning, you sell some MicroStrategy stock and then you buy Bitcoin, right? And ooh, get a nice slow morning sun up there. And then when MicroStrategy is up, you sell some shares, use that to funnel and buy Bitcoin, right? And Bitcoin's gonna go up forever. And when Bitcoin's up, it's a kind of win-win situation, right? MicroStrategy is down, and just sit, don't do nothing, right? Just wait, be patient. And I don't know, I still think that this notion, like good greed versus bad greed, what is the difference? I think good greed is when you're kind of wisely greedy, where you think about the long term, right? So bad greed is when you think about the short term gains, and then good greed is when you think about long term gains.